Friend of Valseren, I have a proposal for you. Tranquil greetings, Caraval. You will forgive me if I seem awkward. We rarely entertain guests here on Arteum. I am Kelleris. Right Master Ichesis told me a great deal about you. I suspect he has plans for you within the Psijic Order. The Right Master holds you in high regard. That is proof enough of your worthiness. The Psijic Order requires practical wisdom, outside perspective. Unless I miss my guess, you can provide both. You would be a worthy addition to our ranks. Eager to begin? Good. Eagerness is just what we need. Your first lesson begins now. The Order has detected a number of irregularities on Tamriel. Small breaches in the fabric of time. I would like you to seal them for me. The first cluster of time breaches appeared on the Isle of Somerset. You should start there. Go speak with my apprentice, Josaja, in the Athenaeum. She will provide the tools you need, a map, Psijic seals, and the Augur of the Obscure. I serve as the Chief Law Master here on Arteum, a grand title for a modest pursuit, truth be told. I protect and maintain our various libraries and archives, safeguard the details of our Order's history, that sort of thing. 863 at last count, not including the Right Master's personal collection, of course. Don't trouble yourself looking for them. Many of them exist in quasi-planes and hermetic mind spheres. It helps keep things tidy. Comparatively, yes. Many of my peers spend their days examining the nature of reconstituted souls and studying Etara dream residue. Still, I love my work. It also affords me the opportunity to spend time with our initiates. Of sorts. I educate students on the importance of compassion, discipline, objectivity, and the like. Our Order's chief virtues. It can be very rewarding, provided the students take such lessons to heart. I am confident you will be such a student. A noble heart and a solemn commitment to the good. Achieving membership in the Psijic Order is a serious and lasting endeavor. You must be prudent, but fearless, withdrawn, but compassionate. It is not something to be taken lightly. Too reclusive, I fear. The truth is that we have grown old, Caraval. A mixed blessing, I suppose. Long years of seclusion have allowed us to study and learn, but always at the cost of our relationship with the outside world. We need youth, vigor. As your knowledge of the old ways grows, so too will the rewards. For instance, we are prepared to teach you new and powerful spells. As in all things, the best teacher is experience. This matter of the time breaches will act as your exam. Only this. Purge yourself of selfish intent. Membership in the Psijic Order will bring you both prestige and power, but such honors often lead to Wegnithir, the bad change. What you do in the Order's name, you do for others, never yourself. The map will show you the approximate location of each time breach. I apologize. Our visions, while powerful, are not always specific. Make your way to each X on the map, then use the Augur of the Obscure to discover the anomaly's exact location. These time breaches are not visible to mortal eyes. The Augur, however, perceives time and space very differently. Gazing through it will allow you to peer through the veil, to see things both visible and invisible. Things like these breaches. Precisely. Think of them like bandages, I suppose, or tourniquets. The chrononymics they contain will stabilize the rifts and harden the walls of time around them, rendering the breaches harmless. They are quite easy to use, I promise.
You must be the adventurer that Valcerin was going on about. Allow me to be the first to welcome you to our secret island. Oh, I suppose you already talked to the Right Master, seeing as you're here in Kapora Tower. That strange pearl has certainly been reluctant to reveal its secrets. The Right Master hates it when an inanimate object refuses to cooperate. Regarding the amplification elixir, I just cataloged it. It's a Sotha Seal creation, as you'd expect. What? No, not in the traditional sense. He's not one of our monks, if that's what you're asking. More like an honorary member, I guess you'd say. According to my records, the silver vial should be right over there. As soon as the pearl arrived via Valcerin's transference spell, the Right Master gathered the conclave to prepare an augury ritual. He's been cycling sages through to keep them fresh, while slowly increasing the intensity of the ritual. I'm the Right Master's acolyte. I have other duties to perform. Besides, such a complex ritual requires the power of the conclave of the 11 forces. I'm not that strong yet. Under the Right Master's tutelage, I expect to attain that rank. One day. Despite opinions to the contrary, being an Altmer isn't a prerequisite for membership in the Psijic Order. The Right Master noticed my potential and invited me to join. I had a year to consider the offer, but I made my decision immediately. I'm not allowed to reveal where you are or how our magic works, other than to tell you that you have arrived upon the fabled island of the Psijic Order, Arteum. While we're not currently part of Nirn's reality, we still keep track of events there. I could say we have our ways and leave it at that, but you deserve a better explanation. The Right Master sends Psijics back to the world to perform tasks and gather information. Plus, we have powerful scrying magic that reveals all sorts of details. I was examining the vial of amplification elixir myself just a short time ago. It should be right over there.
Was Oriandra able to direct you to the proper elixir? Without something to amplify the magic, our ritual is going to fail. Just in time. For the next stage of the ritual, if you have no objections, I'd like you to join us. Your experiences alongside Valcerin might help reveal what has so far eluded our efforts. We'll handle the magic. You pour the elixir into the scrying pool and stand close. As the ritual's power amplifies, your experiences with the Pearl and the false Aldark should help the augury do its job. We want to discover the origin of the Pearl and its strange magic. In addition, anything we can learn about the false Aldark and his connection to the Pearl would be helpful. Otherwise, we're stepping blindly into Oblivion's maw here. Pour the elixir into the pool. That should provide the final boost we need to trigger the augury.
Here we stand, the most favored servants of Clavicus Vile, Mephala, and Nocturnal, on the verge of the greatest victory for our princes.
Are you sure those creatures can be trusted?
Have no fear. Isn't that why we formed the Court of Bedlam? Besides, what happens next in Relenthil will seal Somerset's fate.
That was unnerving. It seems the false Aldark belonged to an alliance of Daedric cultists called the Court of Bedlam. Imagine, the faithful of Clavicus Vile, Mephala, and Nocturnal working together. This is more serious than I anticipated. No, but I'm hardly an expert on the Daedric cults of Tamriel. The magic I sensed in the pearl, though, it doesn't contain the taint of oblivion. We're missing something. But what? I suppose we'll need to find out what's going on in Relenthiel. I hoped you'd say that. Relenthiel sits to the west of Shimmerine, just across the mountains. I'll send Valcerin with you to talk to the Cannon Reeve. The false Aldark may be dead, but Mephalah's and Nocturnal's agents remain, as well as the pearls. I may not be a natural prognosticator, but I had a feeling you might. Go ahead. I'll answer what I can. The augury ritual extracted a vision of the false Aldark and the court of Bedlam, but nothing specifically about the pearl. Its magic isn't Daedric, though. How they can steal life energy and use it to summon those sea creatures remains a mystery. Very little, I'm afraid. The last time I passed through that area was more than 350 years ago. They made an exquisite wine, as I recall, and the House of Reveries theater troupe always put on an entertaining show. From what I've experienced, an alliance isn't just unusual, it's contrary to their very nature. Oh, they'll work together from time to time, but something as complex as what Sotha Seal hinted at is unheard of. Makes me interested to learn more.
Good quality there.
Ah, this one has been looking for you. Raz's investigations have brought him to Relenthiel. When this one noticed your Psijic friend slip into town, Raz figured you'd be along soon. So, what did you discover on Arteum, the island that isn't here anymore? Ugh, that made Raz's head hurt. Yes, this one has been exploring the Daedric connection as well. But Raz hates Daedra. In Raz's experience, very little good comes from dealing with Daedra or their cultists. And this revelation brings you to Relenthiel, yes? That is disturbingly vague. Why must cryptic cultists be so... cryptic? Well, Raz saw Valcerin head toward Canon Reeve Farmeldo's house. This one suggests we start our investigation of the area there.
Drat! Which one could he possibly be?
Go inside and we'll discuss this later. And take off that ridiculous hood.
Ridiculous? I'll show you what's ridiculous. I'll show you all!
You think as Canon Reeve I'd be immune to the troublesome temper of a spoiled and rebellious child. But what distinguished visitors I have today. A wandering sage, a well-dressed Psijic, and you. What brings such a group to Relanthiel? Investigating. For who? Well, there have been 3 reports this week of someone disappearing. And my intractable son Nadoril and his malcontent friends have been cavorting around the large sinkhole that recently appeared. What are you implying? They're just young and proud of their heritage. I wouldn't draw such a harsh conclusion without substantial evidence. I can't understand why they're fascinated with the sinkhole, but that doesn't make them criminals. It's unusual for newcomers to encroach upon Altmer affairs, especially since we rarely saw any prior to the Queen's decree. If you want to investigate, I won't try to stop you. And if anything happens, maybe it will teach my son to avoid the place.
Raz wants to ask the Canon Reeve a few more questions. Take the Psijic and go investigate the sinkhole.
Dawnbreaker, open the way! Oh, come on! Stupid Daedric interference! I'll be back!
That could be helpful. I think we can enter through these roots.
He attacked Eldon, and one of those horrible creatures tore off my hood!
That young woman was certainly in a hurry. And what was that about Nadoril and an attack? Yes, well, let's be on our guard then. I don't think this sinkhole is completely natural. Its size concerns me. If the ground continues to fall away, it could swallow all of Relanthiel. It certainly feels dangerous, and if it does figure into the Court of Bedlin's plans, well, I can't think of a more frightening event than watching Relanthiel get swallowed by a sinkhole. Let's proceed and find out what's going on down here.
The walls and ceiling, they don't look stable. I'll try to reinforce the weak spots and catch up. Those Yagra creatures. Be careful. The size of this place. It's almost as if someone dug up through the island. I'll teleport closer to the central area and meet you there.
Someone there! Help! Please help! Crazy bastard! Stabbed me! God! This hurts! It was just kind of fun. Joining the court of Bedlam. Espousing the virtues of our Ultima heritage. But Doral, he took things too far. When we heard that they planned to release those creatures, I made the mistake of saying they were insane. Doral objected, called me unworthy. That's when he stabbed me.
The court of Bedlam will eradicate the lesser races. Maybe even deal with our unworthy queen.
Over here. Keep quiet and tell me if you see what I see. You see that, right? My eyes aren't playing tricks on me. That's a sea slode. They haven't been seen in Somerset since... well, it's been centuries at least. A vile and dangerous species. Very powerful. The sea slode come from the distant underwater kingdom of Ulvorkus. Who's that hooded figure with the slode? And look, more of those abyssal pearls. They're everywhere. The hooded figure could be a member of this so-called Court of Bedlam. At this point, nothing would surprise me. That slode has me worried, though. I can't think of anything worse than an alliance between those foul beasts and Daedric cultists. They could certainly have a connection to the sea slode's submerged kingdom, but they appear to have been placed down here, Look how the Yagra are drawn to them. I'll head for the sea slode. You deal with those abyssal pearls.
Master! Intruders in the cave!
Heed me, my creatures! Destroy the intruders!
That young idiot! We need to get over there.
Witness the power of Kator on the Abyssal Cabal!
What do you say to some celebratory sweets?
Destroy the pearls! We can't let those creatures reach the surface! The sea slode and the hooded figure are gone. I'll try to determine where they disappeared to.
Striving to learn something new. One of my favorite things about riding with you. There are none left to stand against us.
This way! Up here! Damn! No sign of where the sea slode disappeared to. The sea slode left us something to remember it by. We need to dispatch that creature. I think we can get out over there.
Hurry, this... Somehow Raz knew he'd find you here.
Sea slodes? This is worse than the Right Master imagined. Meet me in Artaeum after you talk to the Queen's Eye.
Did the pretty Psijic say sea slode? No. Raz must have heard wrong. That could not have been what she said. Slode? That's bad. And sea slode, that sounds even worse. If the sea slode threatens Somerset, Queen Irene must be informed. We need to act. Wait, what did you say about the Cannon Reeve's son? Daedra worshippers. In Somerset. And slode. Oh, Roz likes this situation less and less. As for Nedoril, Raz knows how to deal with traitors. This one will meet you at the Cannon Reeve's house.
Looking forward to seeing what you make with that.
The Eye of the Queen? How dare you accuse my son of treason? The Queen's Eye. How dare he not identify himself when he first arrived? And how dare he accuse my foolish son of something as serious as treason? The Queen shall hear of this, mark my words. Sea slode? Plus all this nonsense about Altma's superiority, and now murder? I am the Cannon Reeve of Relenthil. I took an oath to serve and protect my community. How in the Queen's name am I supposed to reconcile my son's actions? Oh, Nedoril, what have you done? Please, you must talk to the Queen's Eye. He needs to show mercy. I'm sure we can find a way to resolve this without... Oh, here comes Nedoril now.
I have a lot to answer for? The court of Bedlam is going to turn me into a god!
Foolishness can be ignored. Murder and treason, not so much.
You and your queen have no authority over a true Ultima, you mangy cat.
This one cannot allow your crimes to stand unanswered.
Nedoril! No! No! I understand. Relenthil is loyal to the Queen.
Sometimes the eye sees treason and must cut it out before it spreads. This one is sorry you had to witness that. Blasphemy, treason, murder. How many crimes must one commit to attract the attention of the executioner's blade? Raz decided that a message had to be sent. Enemies of the Queen will not be tolerated. Treason and the Queen's justice are serious business. Raz has been forced into this role on rare occasions, but he never seeks it out or looks forward to wielding the blade. A necessary part of my job, yes. No. Raz will see to the Cannon Reeve and send word to the Queen before looking deeper into the Court of Bedlam. You should return to Arteum and let the Psijics know what we learned. I tell you, Five Claw, this whole situation makes Raz want to hiss.
it, right? Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Ah, friend of Valcerin. I've been informed that you encountered a sea slode in a sinkhole beneath Relanthiel. That bodes ill for Somerset, perhaps all of Nirn. I fear there are difficult days ahead. I'm familiar with that particular sea slode and its renegades. Call themselves the Abyssal Cabal. I thought I defeated them long ago, but it appears I was in error. What about the pearls? Valcerin mentioned you encountered more in the sinkhole. Val described those seaborne monstrosities. I have a vague recollection of Keturah utilizing such creatures in the past, but for some reason, the memories refuse to snap into focus. I suppose that's another mystery I'll need to look into. The Daedric princes require minions to carry out their will, and the Slode have always had an interest in the green and pleasant island. It isn't hard to see why they might work together. For now, you have my thanks for assisting Valcerin. I asked the Conclave of the 11 Forces to ponder how we can learn more from the Abyssal Pearl. With the additional information you provided, I expect that Iridel or Amalira will be able to develop a new avenue of investigation now. The augury ritual revealed the connection to the Court of Bedlam and pointed to trouble in Relanthiel. Now we need to determine where Keturah and the Sea Slodes are hiding. The Abyssal Pearl should be able to point us in the right direction. Meet me in the main gallery. We can consult with the rest of the Conclave and use the scrying pool to continue our probe of the Pearl. As much as this situation concerns me, I must admit, I somewhat enjoy being in the middle of the action again.
Right, Master! The Abyssal Pearl! It's gone!
Gone? How? I set the protections personally.
How could the Abyssal Pearl disappear like that? It makes no sense. A few hours ago. We left it in the scrying pool in the main gallery while the members of the Conclave of the 11 Forces went to deal with other matters of importance. When I returned, I immediately noticed that the pearl was missing. The Conclave serves as the Order's ruling body. It takes its name from the 11 forces of nature that we revere and follow as part of the old ways. The Conclave assists the Right Master with matters of study, policy, and significant research. Yes, that's standard procedure when dealing with an unknown relic. But that just makes the pearl's disappearance more troubling. Something about this feels wrong.
See what the scrying pool reveals. There's something happening on the beach.
It's the Yagra. They're invading Artaeum.
The pearl. Somehow it was used to summon the Yagra. We need to defend the beach.
Wait, is that a sword?
That would be mine. I'm on my way to help. Eventually.
The Golden Knight and his sword can wait. The Yagra are our primary concern. The scrying pool revealed that Yagra have invaded our island. They must have somehow used the Abyssal Pearl to open a pathway. We need to get down to the beach and repel the invaders. The Sea Sloat have always been envious of Artaeum and its secrets. From the beach, they can reach the ruins of the College of Psijic, where we store relics and other items of arcane significance. If the Sea Sloat acquire any of those artifacts, that's a mystery we can solve after we deal with the immediate problem. We need to get down to the beach, destroy the pearl, and close the Yagra's portal. Will you aid me in these...
Follow the Right Master. I'll portal myself and meet you there.
My word, the vision showed us the Dawnbreaker. I'm almost positive.
Yes, can I help you? Right. You're the Order's new initiate. I didn't expect you so soon. Things here on Artaeum are normally, you know, snailish. I transcribed our seer's visions onto the map there, and collected these Psijic seals. The augur, however... I don't. Please don't tell the Lore Master. It tricked me into dismissing the binding charms that keep it here, in the Athenaeum. Then it popped like a bubble and vanished. It escaped before, but never on my watch. Mercifully, yes. I just scryed its location. It looks like it reappeared somewhere on the shores of Wasting Coraldale. It didn't take long for some sea elves to scoop it up and squirrel it away. You'll have to steal it back. I am sorry, truly. I'm indebted. You'll definitely need the augur on your quest. Without it, you'll never find those time breaches. The Lore Master didn't tell you? All right. How to explain it? The augur is a skull. Sort of. It's really a crystalline entity that resembles a skull. Some think it's from the head of an ancient mage, but I don't believe that for a minute. It's hard to say. Once you have a few conversations with it, you'll see what I mean. Yes, incessantly. I think that's why Lore Master Kellerus made me its caretaker. No one else wants to listen to it. You should know that it lies constantly, unless you ask it a direct question. If you do that, it's compelled to always tell the truth. It will. Stirring up the augur's power will give you a second sight. The skull sees time differently. Well, it sees practically everything differently, but time most of all. I think it's fascinating. I just wish the little bugger wasn't so sneaky. I am. You look surprised. Right, of course. It's not racial bias. The Psijic Order doesn't have any axes to grind. It's just a matter of circumstance. Psijic study is an Aldmeri tradition, for one thing. High Elves also live a long time and have more natural aptitude. It's a long story. I was the heiress to a crown magnifica. Our house was prosperous, well respected. When Kellerus offered to take me to Artaeum, I cast off my duties immediately and left the family's fortunes in the hands of my brother. He drove our family into shame and poverty, pretty much immediately. I try not to think about it. Let's change the subject, all right? You have lots to do and very little time to do it. The seals are one of the Order's oldest tools. They act as a sort of anchor, shoring up any wayward spirits or forces in a given place. When Nirn was still young, the veil was much looser, more unpredictable, you know? So the Aldmer made these. None at all. We've been refining them for thousands of years, remember? Just take one in your hand when you reach a tear, and the seal will do the rest.
For a question in passing? Thank you for heeding my call, newcomer. I don't suppose your passage to Somerset brought you past Waston Coraldale? My father, Kurtaros, runs a boat in an angler fleet. They're long overdue, and while his stride tends to be a leisurely one, I've never seen the whole fleet gone for so long. I'm probably over-concerned. The weather's been fair and the wind's mild. Perhaps their fishing has been so fruitful they dare not waste their good fortune. But I'd feel better if I knew what to make of their delay. The fleet set off west. Western Coraldale is an island engulfed by coral reefs, but you can reach it safely in that sailboat. I'd go with you, but I'm afraid I don't share my father's comfort with open water. Not especially. I've never been myself, but Father's only remarked about the occasional ornery coral crab or hungry salamander. The reefs are the only real hazard, but only to a ship of considerable size and flimsy make. Oh, there's not much to tell. He's plied the sea for its bounty for as long as I can recall, and that's some time, mind you. We eat well, and he makes a fair bit of coin with his best catches, but sometimes I wish he'd keep a bit more lively. Not since I was very young. My father took me fishing once, showed me how to bait a hook, coax a bite, and work the line until the catch tires out. It wasn't meant to be an eventful trip, but it turned out that way. Father dozed off, so I continued to apply what I'd learnt without him. Soon enough, I'd hooked my first catch. Or rather, it hooked me. Yanked me clear off the boat and into the deep. I was too shocked to let go of the rod, nearly drowned. Yes, fished me out of the drink, quite literally. He still calls me his prized catch. It's funnier when you're not coughing up seawater. Poor thing. Right here. Stay focused.
What do you say to some celebratory sweets?
was it, right? Sometimes it's hard to tell. Night never yields!
Well, never seen you before. Guess no one told you that this is my spot. Been my spot nearly a century. And it'll be my spot a century more, God's willing. So don't go getting any ideas. Plenty of space down the coast. So, off with you now. Huh, fancy that. I told Hiranessa for years those sea elves would mount an invasion from Waston Coral Dale. Figures they'd launch it while I was having a nap. Well, come along then. Best send them off before they hook all the best catches. Of course. Any Royal Marine of the Queen's Navy worth their salt would. Might have traded my saber for a fishing rod, but I've still got my sea legs, and I'm still as sharp as the day I mustered. The others I sail with are civilians, though. Aye. Even if they caught a glimpse of a sea elf cutter before it reached Waston Coraldale, there's no chance a fishing boat would have outrun it. If anyone from the fleet's still alive out there, it's our duty to help them. Best we split up. Unless my creaking knees give me away, I ought to be able to handle some scouting while you're searching for survivors. We'll rendezvous at the old Lover's Tree near the reef on the eastern shore. My friends will know the one. Unless I'm caught. Won't be much use to the sea elves as a prisoner, but I'll black an eye or two before I greet my maker. Tell her my children are grown and my wants are few. But I cannot say the same for my friends. I've had a good life. I don't mind trading what's left of it, so others might have the same. 3 aside from myself: Imdolina, Aldoterel, and Carterel. Not much of a fleet when you compare it to the Royal Armada, but we're the scourge of anything with guilds. Hope you find them safe and sound. Too quiet. If one of them had reached the mainland, the Royal Navy would have sent ships to intercept these sea elves by now. No one knows they're here except us. Enemy movement. Numbers, positions, assess our situation. I hope to have a plan by the time you've finished your search.
Sacred Ascendants, take me home. I thought you were a sea elf. One moment I was just dipping my toes in the shallows having a pleasant day. The next there's a murderous corsair or hungry reef viper around every corner. We're trapped. He's alive. At his age, I'd have thought he'd be the first to fall prey to those sea elves. Should have given the stubborn old salt more credit. I'll make my way to him. Better than waiting to die out here. Thank you.
Stranger, don't anger the salamanders. They're the only thing keeping those sea elves from wandering too close. What are you doing out here? I've never seen you before. You're sure we're talking about the same Kurtaros? The one I know is more likely to be mistaken for dead and sleep right through this whole mess.
Roll free!
All this crouching is damnation on my back. But I've seen everything I need to know what the enemy's up to. How fares the search? Any sign of Tamriel? Never do when it comes to these sea elves. They'll rob us of more than a few good souls before all is said and done here. They're digging in, placing ballistae along the shore. When the Royal Navy finally does mount an attack, they'll be taking fire from Maormer on both land and sea. It'll be a bloodbath, unless some misfortune befalls their plans. Catch my drift? I'm not suggesting we repel the whole invasion, but I do know my way around a ballista. If we turn one toward their own ships and cause enough of a stir, we can draw on a friendly patrol and catch the sea elves out of their element. I'll get into position and await your attack. Then we'll give those sea snakes a good spearing while these two make for your vessel. You do have a vessel, don't you? All right. You two go prepare the boat our friend brought. We'll provide a distraction. Trinamac's wrath be with us.
Seals, fond of winged snakes and soggy chests. Nope. Fleshy, thick-thumbed biped, Josiah. Josiah. Wait, you're talking about that jittery mage I tricked into freeing me, right? Oh, she's a delight. I had hoped for a longer holiday. Can only manage a leap like this once a century, after all. Ah, well. I'm actually quite comfortable here, mate. Cozy accommodations, the transliminal tones of the ocean waves, gangly meat brains to mock. But I guess I should be going. These elves plan to sell me. Can you imagine? I'll help you. On one condition. When we're done sewing up these chronosymphonic when we're done sewing up these time breaches, you'll let me wander the Mundus in peace. No more dim-witted Psijics peppering me with questions. No more dusty shells. We have a deal? Right. So, should we get going, or...? Fair enough. So, where to? I assume you've got a map or something?
them off while I spear that cutter! This is what Tamriel! Keep on the offensive! Fall back and get to the boat.
I do believe we're good at this. Stendarr was with us in that fight. You've met your match. you my blade. I had no idea we'd get to do things like this. Focus your mind. Stay with me.
So, you know where we're going now, right? Good. You take me to a time breach, and I'll help you spot it. Huh. This bag's a bit snug, eh?
Father, you have me so worried. What happened? Where's your boat?
None of that now, my nervous cup. I'll tell you all about it. But first, there's one more thing we need to see to. Come, friends. It's time we commit our memories to the drink.
He washes up here after being gone for weeks, his boat nowhere in sight, and he acts like it's just another day on the sea. Was everything all right? Did he cause you any trouble? Oh, he put you up to that, didn't he? Papa always loves to embellish his journeys. Whatever the truth is, I'm just glad you brought him home safe. If all newcomers are so kind, Somerset will be fortunate to have you. He's not fooling me. I can tell something happened. Father's putting on a brave face, like he used to whenever I'd ask him about his younger days. He'd smile and deflect the question, but I could see a sadness in his eyes he couldn't hide. His secret. The fanciful story of meeting my mother, a myth about how the moon and stars winked on the day of my birth, and tall tales about his fishing voyages. Before that, not a word. Not once. I don't think I'll ever get the truth out of him. 70 years isn't enough. I love my father, but all I want is to love him for who he is, not who he shows me. When he was missing, I wasn't just worried I'd lose him. I was worried I'd never get the chance to know him. You didn't come here to listen to a grown woman bawling about her father to a stranger. Forgive me. You did enough bringing him home safe. What comes after is up to me. He and his mates have a tradition of celebrating their safe return. They're partial to a small batch brewer on the south side of Alinor, by the craft masons. They'll probably be there all night. Oh, yes. She and Carterell have been together for years. She used to look after me when I was younger, while Father and the others were off at sea. She's a good friend. I imagine she'll be with Father and the others, waiting to see Carterell when she arrives. The fanciful story of meeting my mother. 70 years isn't enough? You didn't come...